Good afternoon. We're going to give you another Pat and Dee Dee little known Black history fact. And once again, Dee Dee is going to listen along quietly. Today we're going to discuss Howard Thurman. Now, everyone knows about Martin Luther King Jr., but one of his inspirations was Howard Thurman. If you're wondering how Howard Thurman inspired Martin Luther King Jr., his commitment to a spiritually and physically integrated society and to the methods of Gandhian nonviolence, he served as a major influence in King's life. But first, let's find out who Howard Thurman was. Howard Thurman was born on November 18, 1899, in Daytona Beach, Florida, to a family that had little to no means, but they loved him dearly. And throughout his life, he would often attribute his success to his family's courage and sacrifice. Young Howard was only 14 years old when he left the comforts of home in pursuit of knowledge at a boarding school. There was no high school for Black students in Daytona Beach then. When he arrived at the train station to his trek north to Jacksonville, he was shocked to learn that while he had enough money for the fare, he needed more to check his trunk. He thought his adventure was doomed on the end of that platform until an anonymous stranger approached him, asked him why he was crying, and that changed the trajectory of his life. And it gave him the funds he needed to get to Jacksonville. Thurman never forgot that act of kindness and dedicated his autobiography to the man on the platform who restored his broken dreams. So after high school, Thurman attended both Morehouse College and Colgate Rochester Divinity School, where he became the valedictorian of his college classes. Following his studies, Thurman began his forays as a faculty member, first serving as a director of religious life at Morehouse and Spelman Colleges in Atlanta, and then as the first dean of Andrew Rankin Chapel at Howard University. As an educator, Thurman took time to engage his students in deep conversation about their unrealized potential, prompting them with questions like, "Who are you really? And what do you want to be?" And in 1935, Thurman's profile grew in America, and he was asked to lead a Negro delegation to Southeast Asia. It was on this trip that he met Mohandas Gandhi, and in discussion with India's emancipator, he explored the power of nonviolent direct action as a mechanism for social change. By the time the civil rights movement took shape in the United States, Thurman was a nationally recognized human rights advocate, though he didn't take to marching and mobilizing on the streets. He preferred to serve as a caretaker and spiritual advisor to those who did, among them Jesse Jackson, Marion Wright Edelman, and Dr. Martin Luther King. Prior to coming to Boston University, Thurman's life took an unexpected detour in the Bay Area. In 1944, he co-founded the Church for the Fellowship of All Peoples in San Francisco. This was an interracial congregation intentionally designed to break through the barriers that separated people based on the basis of race, color, creed, or national origin. His work in San Francisco is what attracted the eye of then Boston University president Harold C. Case, who then recruited Thurman to Massachusetts because of his unifying philosophy. Thurman accepted. He moved to Boston in 1953, and he served as the dean of Marsh Chapel. With this appointment, Thurman became the first African-American dean at a predominantly white institution in the United States. In his 12 years at Boston University, Thurman engaged with national luminaries on campuses like James Baldwin, Arthur Ashe, and most notably a doctoral student named Martin Luther King Jr. Much like King, Thurman dedicated his life to the pursuit of a society that could acknowledge its differences, yet elevate its common human ties. He visualized a world where racial, ethnic, and religious barriers did not serve as a roadblock to creating meaningful relationships. He called on us to do what makes us come alive, and it's his collective story, philosophy, and vision that drives Boston University to create a community filled with openness, generosity, and fellowship. As the current dean of Marsh Chapel, Robert A. Hill, put it in a 2010 sermon, he was 100 years ahead of his time 50 years ago, so he is still 50 years ahead of his time. Boston University is committed to realizing Thurman's vision, not 50 years from now, but starting today. Thank you for allowing me to share this information about Howard Thurman, and thank you to Google.com, AI Overview, and BU.edu for this very vital information. You have a wonderful day. Take care.